presidents, the most powerful men in America, but also some of the weirdest, funniest, and most unpredictable people to ever walk the White House halls. Today, we're breaking down some of the wildest, most hilarious, and absolutely insane things about some of the most famous US presidents. Buckle up. This ride goes from genius to goofy real fast. Alright, let's kick things off with Honest Abe. Abraham Lincoln, the face on the penny, the guy who saved the Union, and the deliverer of epic speeches. But before he was dropping truth bombs in Gettysburg, he was dropping opponents on the wrestling mat. The great emancipator was also a great grappler. Picture this, a young lanky Lincoln, probably all elbows and determination, just absolutely dominating the local toughs. Sources say he competed in around 300 matches, and guess how many he lost? 1. He wasn't just splitting rails, he was splitting defenses and probably a few egos along the way. So, while he was busy navigating the complexities of the Civil War and abolishing slavery, just remember, somewhere deep down, there was a part of Lincoln that could probably still put you in a headlock you wouldn't soon forget. Next time you see a $5 bill, give a little nod to the wrestler-in-chief. Next up, the OG, the father of his country, George Washington. Now everyone knows the story about him chopping down the cherry tree and confessing, "I cannot tell a lie." Spoiler alert, that story is probably itself a lie. What a fact, and a rather cringeworthy one at that, is the state of his dental hygiene. The man had notoriously bad teeth, and by bad, I mean he was practically collecting different sets of dentures like they were Pokemon. His breath? Let's just say it must have smelled like a haunted petting zoo after a particularly humid day. Let's swivel on over to Thomas Jefferson, the man who penned the Declaration of Independence, a document so profound it basically told a king to take a long walk off a short pier. And also, apparently, a guy who really liked to spin. Because while he was drafting world-changing prose about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, he was likely doing it in a swivel chair. But Jefferson's eccentricities didn't stop at revolutionary office furniture. Forget a first dog. Jefferson was gifted a pair of grizzly bear cubs by Captain Zebulon Pike. For a while, these furry little, and soon-to-be not-so-little engines of destruction actually lived at the president's house. The White House was basically a step away from becoming a very dangerous, very presidential petting zoo. Chapter 4. Teddy Roosevelt, the human bull moose who laughed in death's face, literally. If America ever had its own real-life superhero, it was probably Theodore Teddy Roosevelt. In 1912, while campaigning for a third term in Milwaukee, an assassin shot him in the chest at close range. The bullet, slowed by his thick speech manuscript and glasses case in his coat pocket, lodged in his chest. Did he collapse? Did he scream? Nope. He assessed the situation, realized he wasn't coughing up blood, and declared, "It takes more than that to kill a bull moose." Then he proceeded to deliver his scheduled 90-minute speech. The bullet remained in his body for the rest of his life because doctors determined it was riskier to remove it. Teddy didn't just run the country, he charged it head-on, probably on horseback, possibly with a sword clenched in his teeth. Chapter 5. John F. Kennedy, Camelot Charisma and Covert Recordings. Ah, John F. Kennedy, the dashing young president with the movie star looks, the captivating speeches, and a family that was basically American royalty. But behind that gleaming smile and perfectly coiffed hair, JFK was battling a pharmacy's worth of health problems. Beyond the hidden health struggles, there was another more clandestine side to the Kennedy White House. Long before Nixon got himself into hot water, JFK had a secret taping system installed in the Oval Office and the Cabinet Room. The official reason was for historical record-keeping, to help with his memoirs. Unofficially, well, information is power, isn't it? Chapter 6. Richard Nixon. Not just a crook, but also a composer. Richard Milhous Nixon. A name synonymous with scandal, secrecy, and the immortal phrase, "I am not a crook." But peel back the layers of political intrigue and paranoia, and you find a surprisingly different facet to Tricky Dick. The man was musical. He could play not one, not two, but 5 instruments, including the piano, violin, clarinet, saxophone, and accordion. He was apparently quite proficient on the piano, even composing his own pieces. Imagine that, the future architect of Watergate, tickling the ivories on national television. Chapter 7. Barack Obama, the 44th president. Known for his cool demeanor, his eloquent speeches, hope and change, and that devastatingly smooth jump shot. But beneath the presidential polish, Barry O was harboring a secret identity, or at least a secret passion. Plot twist. The leader of the free world was a total, unadulterated comic book nerd. During his childhood and even into his younger adult years, Obama was an avid collector of comic books. The ultimate nerd cred moment came when Obama himself was featured a Marvel comic. In the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 583, released just before his inauguration, Spidey thwarts a plot against the president-elect, and the two share a fist bump on the cover. Chapter 8. And then there's Donald J. Trump, the 45th president. A figure so larger than life, he makes other larger-than-life figures look kinda medium. Before he was president, he was a real estate mogul, a reality TV star famous for "You're Fired," and a man whose name was plastered on everything from skyscrapers to steaks. His presidency was, to put it mildly, unconventional. He was the first president to be impeached not once, but twice. Beyond the political firestorms, Trump's presidency was peppered with moments that felt ripped straight from a surrealist comedy. Whether you loved him or loathed him, you have to admit, the man was never boring. Chapter 9. Last but certainly not least, let's talk about Amtrak Joe Biden, the 46th president. A man known for his aviator sunglasses, his love for trains, and a political career longer than most Hollywood marriages. But even Steady Joe has had his share of White House quirks, particularly when it comes to his canine companions, specifically, his German Shepherd, Commander. This dog, bless his heart, had a bite count that would make most horror movie villains take notes. Eventually, Commander had to be rehomed, and then there's Biden's other well-documented passion: ice cream. The man ice cream. From wrestling champs and bear keepers to dog brawls and fast food feasts, US presidents have done some wild stuff. They're not just powerful, they're presidentially unhinged. This journey through the wacky world of presidential antics just goes to show that history is packed with more personality than a reality TV reunion show. If you loved this presidential madness, hit that like button, subscribe for more weird history, and drop a comment with the craziest fact you learned today. History doesn't have to be boring, not when it's this nuts. Thanks for watching, you magnificent weirdos.